Best dressed man in wrestling right here. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. It ain't no doubt. It ain't no doubt. Flair, bring that old cashmere coat out here. Gee, I love.
Can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
Welcome to a weekend edition of Midday Sports with the Lunch Crew. You know what I mean? I have my guy on, Chris Dietz. Man, I gotta ask you this question, Dietz.
Are we live? Because it says scheduled up in the corner.
No, we're live.
Oh, sweet.
So, I gotta ask you a question about this, man. I see you've been breaking down Disney, man. I'm a big time Disney fan. I remember watching the Disney movies. I remember watching Lizzie McGuire, Even Steven. All Disney, okay? I was never really a Nickelodeon guy. So, except for all that and stuff like that, when it used to be good. But let's break it down, man. Why are you so mad about this Peter Pan? These are fictional characters, Deeds.
They are, but why I'm mad about? Well, Peter Pan is absolutely funny. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. If you've seen the trailer, Wendy literally goes up to the kids, who everybody knows is the Lost Boys. Mm-hmm. Okay, she walks up to them. And she looks at them, and she says it in the trailer, "You're not all boys." Really? Like, the Lost Boys are not boys anymore. They're the Lost Boys and girls, apparently.
So you should think I'm with you. I agree with you.
Why that's important mm-hmm. to the story is you go back to the original Peter Pan, and I'm not talking about the Disney-fied version. I'm talking about the 1950s mm-hmm. Scottish tale Peter Pan. Peter Pan literally says, she asks him, why are there only boys here? And he says, because boys fall out of their pram and become lost boys. That's why they're lost. Girls are smart enough to stay in their prams and not become lost. So it defeats the purpose of why they even did it. But you know why they did it. They did it because they just want to. They just want to make it everybody. Oh, girls and boys, they're exactly the same. There's no difference between them. And they even push it further of, no, girls are better than boys. I mean, if that's the message you want to push, that's fine. Like, there's plenty of stories that you can push with that. But you don't need to throw it down our face. And, I mean, they've been pushing this for the last few years now. And all you have to do is look at Disney. $2.8 billion lost in the last quarter alone.
But that's not gonna hurt them though. You know how old Disney is.
This stuff's not working, and it is hurting them. It is hurting them.
The park is still packed, Deets, every year. People still got time.
The park, yeah, and look what they've had to do at the park to make up for all of this stuff that they're doing. To make up for all of this garbage. They've had to raise prices at the park. They've had to, because of the activists that they have employed there, they lost their tax-free stuff because they decided to challenge the governor on a bill that has nothing to do with Disney, but they decided to challenge it. And you know what the governor did? He said, "Oh, well, we're going to rip your tax-exempt status." Well, what does that do? It raises prices at the park. It raises prices on people that want to go there. And it doesn't mean people are going to stop going. People are going to keep going to Disney because Disney's a good time. But when you pull this kind of garbage, it's the one thing, like, we know it happens. We know what you're trying to do, but you don't have to throw it in our face. And you look at what's happening at the MCU. They've already pushed the Marvels back twice. Mm-hmm. Pushed it back a third time to November. Mm-hmm. They canceled. You could. They say, "Oh, we've pushed back, or we've suspended indefinitely Ironheart and Echo, 2 female-run shows. They've suspended them indefinitely because they know this isn't working. It's not work. It's just not working, and that's what we're trying to tell everybody is, dude, you can't have female characters that are so super powered, and meanwhile you have male characters just completely emasculated. I mean, you think about Peter Pan. Like you brought up, what's the problem with Peter Pan? All right, what makes Peter Pan a hero?
Wendy.
He saves Wendy from Hook. Mm-hmm. In the trailer, she's smashing Hook's pirates with swords, and she's knocking them down. She's the girl boss. If she doesn't get captured, Peter Pan's not a hero. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't exist. So you can't tell the story without Wendy being captured. It doesn't work. And that's what we're trying. That's what I'm trying to tell Disney right now is you can't have these overpowered female characters without having a male character that is, they want to have the male character that is subservient and basically just along for the ride. Well, that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't make your female character look better. Your female character looks better when she is standing aside a good male character. That's the way it works. I mean, you look back, I grew up in the 90s. We had great female characters. We had a great female character in Xena Warrior Princess. Yeah, it was a great character.
God damn, dude, she took it all the way back.
But you know why she was so great? Because she stood next to Kevin Sorbo's Hercules, and they didn't have to diminish Hercules to make Xena great. They just had to have Hercules be Hercules and Xena be right there with him. And we're like, oh, look, Xena's just as good as him. That's how it works.
Even the Power Rangers.
The Power Rangers. You had the Pink Ranger. You had the Yellow Ranger.
Kimmy. Who's Kimmy? And what's the other girl's name?
I don't even know what. All I know is the yellow one. I know Kim was the pink one. Mm-hmm. And then you had the red, blue, and black and Ranger.
What you gonna do?
They were all connected. They were all the same.
But I was kind of mad. The Black Ranger had a gun though. Well, why could we not have a sword?
Oh, of course. Of course. and I mean, this is perfect 90s style. Oh, we have to put a black character in. Okay, make him the Black Ranger. You can't make that stuff. You can't make that stuff up. Like, somebody was in the room like, we got to do that. And I was like, oh God.
But man, let's get off the Disney stuff, man. What's your thoughts about this trade? Carolina, Carolina's off, executives made, the GM, all of them made with, trading DJ Moore to the Browns for the first round picks.
I mean, Carolina, we thought Carolina was done trading, but apparently not. I guess they're acquiring a lot of first. What are they acquiring all these picks for? That's what I would assume, I would ask. And a lot of people have said Carolina is going to try to move up in the draft.
And what?
I don't understand why, but a lot the recent mocks that I've seen, I mean, recent mocks I've seen are absolutely insane, with Anthony Richardson going number 1.
Ooh.
I mean, Bryce Young going number 2, and then they have CJ Stroud going 3 and Will Levis going 4. They have Carolina trading up to the 4 spot to get Will Levis. If they do that, they're going to ruin their franchise for years on end. I have no idea.
Stop it, man. I'm drinking a Sprite right now. Don't let me go pull the liquor out. Will Levis.
Yeah, this recent mock draft that I saw, it just screams. It just screams of what the media is trying to do. The media wants the draft to be all quarterback. They want all like, if the top 4 picks are quarterbacks in this year, then we might as well just cancel the draft every year. I mean, this quarterback class, this is the worst quarterback class in the last at least 10 years.
I'm about to say, I thought you had to go all the way up. But yeah, I really don't see no difference makers. I don't see no faces of franchise in this draft with these quarterbacks.
No, and I mean, this draft has absolutely insane things happening. Like, they have the Colts trading up to number 1 to get Anthony Richardson. I mean, this is a guy who stop it. I know he blew away the combine. I know everybody's like, oh, he looked great at the combine. Of course he looked great at the combine. The guy is an incredible athlete. But when you go back and look at the regular season, under 100 yards passing against Kentucky, under 100 yards passing against LSU.
But Kentucky got a good defense, though. People going to say Kentucky got a good defense, Deets. They're going to say that.
I don't care if they have a good defense. You cannot be an NFL quarterback and have under 100 yards passing against a college defense. College. People don't do that against Nick Saban's defenses.
I'm saying this, though, Deets. Name me a great receiver Florida got.
I don't even know any of their wider. I don't know any of their wide receivers.
I'm just saying, like, I like Bill Napier. Don't get me wrong, but that team was up and down all year, man, all year long with play calling. I'm just saying. I don't, like I said in the beginning, I don't think this is a good stat.
If you're gonna take him as the number 1 pick, like,
that's too much. Top 10, maybe. I think it's a lot of like
Anthony Richardson is not coming in, and he's not starting day 1.
Oh no!
Why are you drafting him with your first pick if he's not going to start day 1? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to trade up to get him, because it makes absolutely 0 sense to do that. It makes 0 sense to take any of these guys. I mean, the only guy I would take in the top of the draft is Bryce Young, because Bryce Young is the only guy who you could slot in day 1 and say,
I'm not taking him, Beast. I'm not taking him. His size scares me. The 5'10", 180 pounds scares me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about 5'10", 180. I mean, there was another guy who was 5'10", 180, and everybody got scared to take him. And that was Drew Brees.
Come on, Deeds, come on. You can't compare the two.
I can't compare. Yeah, because Drew Brees didn't win a Heisman. Bryce Young did.
Drew Brees,
and he was a Heisman runner-up the next year.
Drew Brees at Purdue, he was throwing them bombs. he was throwing them bombs.
Yeah, and
the arm's totally different. Can we say that the arms are totally different?
I don't know. I've seen Bryce Young air it. I watched Bryce Young against Miami in his first game air it out 50 yards to his tight end, who was streaking wide open down the field. I mean,
you know what I mean? But that's what scares me. If I'm a GM like 5'10", 180 pounds, you got DNs running 4.2s.
I mean, this is a guy who it's not like he didn't face these guys. It's not like he didn't face these kind of players in the SEC. So,
but
he was facing those kind of defensive ends in the SEC. And mind you, Bryce Young is the only guy that's beaten Georgia in the last 2 years.
He
beat that Georgia defense that sent 11 guys to the NFL draft. And he beat them in the SEC championship game and had the lead until Jameson Williams went down and he had no wide receivers to throw the ball to. So it was, again, I like what Bryce Young brings to the table. I mean,
so you're not big on CJ right now.
I'm not. I've never been big on CJ Stroud. I even at Ohio State. I mean, again, this is the same guy who lost to Michigan twice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are we looking? What are we asking him here? I mean, everybody said, "Oh, it was because it was at the Big House." Well, they didn't play at the Big House last year, and they still got crushed.
Mm-hmm.
So he and you really want to get an idea of who CJ Stroud is, go look at the Northwestern film. Sorry, but I got to take this. This is my internet repair guy.
All right, go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, we just talking about a couple Titans. I'm really interested to see Denzel. I think his name Denzel Darnell Washington. Yeah, Darnell Washington out of Georgia. Great blocker. That's I know he's probably going top 10. A couple players going, but it's definitely interesting to see who's going. But I'm not a big Stroud fan.
Working a while ago, then it stopped, and it's working now.
There's a couple other players, I'm looking forward to. I want to see what I think Stetson Bennett would be a good move for a lot of people.
3 or 4 days where it'll work for like an hour, and then it'll stop working for like 6 hours. All right. All right. Sorry about that.
Pretty good.
I got a repair guy coming. He was supposed to come at 8:00 this morning, and now it's 3:00, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're on our way." I'm like, "Dude, it's been 6 hours. Like, I hope you're on your way." So
yeah, I was just. What are your thoughts about Darnell Washington?
I love him.
Like, I think I've been watching his combine, also looked at his game film. I was like, man, he's different.
Dude, look at the catch he made in the national championship game.
6'6", 264. You can't teach that.
Yeah, you can't teach that. And I mean, it was a perfect, exactly what you would get him for was what he did in the national championship game, where Stetson Bennett just threw the ball up and he jumped over the linebacker to make the catch. And it was, I was like, this guy's 6'7", 260, and he's jumping over people. Like, he's a monster. I have him as my second tight end off the board.
I like how he moves the sled, man.
And I would put I could easily see him going probably 15 or 16, somewhere in there. I would definitely take him in there.
You know what would scare me though, man? But I don't think they have any picks. Does Kansas City got any picks in the first round?
Kansas City does. Kansas City has the very last pick.
No, he's not going to be there. I was about to say, I would love to see Mayer with Kelsey, but he's gonna be long gone by.
No, Mayer's gonna be gone a long way before then. I have Mayer in my top 10.
Could you imagine them two guys together?
I don't think teams will drop them. I think he'll go about 12, around 12. But you see what's really interesting about this draft is Philadelphia, because Philadelphia has the New Orleans Saints pick.
And what
from
pick
last year.
What pick number is that?
I want to say 7 or 8, somewhere around there.
What would you like to see them pick something up?
I would love to. I would love to see them get somebody in the secondary, but I could easily see them taking a guy like a Michael Mayer, putting him on the other side with the kid from North Dakota State. Now you've got the 2 wide receivers, you've got 2 stud tight ends, and you can run 2 tight ends. Both guys can line up. Both guys can line up, as wideouts if you have to. They can block. So when Jalen Hurts wants to run, and you got to cover him in the pass game, because if you come up and try to stop the run, if they're one-on-one with a safety, they're too big. If they're one-on-one with a linebacker, they're going to be too fast and run right by them. So to me, it makes sense to have that double tight end on the field, because you don't know what Philly's going to do with that.
And everybody's getting better in your division. So if I'm the Eagles, I would seriously look at tight end in this draft. I mean, you look at how many tight ends there are. You tight end's probably the best position in this draft. You have Mayer, Washington. We didn't even talk about Dalton Kincaid from Utah. They have there's a lot of talent at the tight end position that they could easily grab and make their team that much more of a threat. Like, I'm right now. I'm kind of hurt though, Deets. I was at work. I was at work Friday. Somebody came up to me. He's a Jet fan. You know what I mean? He goes nameless. He said, "Man, look who retired." I seen this 3-2. I was devastated, Deets.
Oh
man, I was devastated, man.
I'm
devastated.
You knew it was coming. Well, it's not like this one. It's not like that was a shock.
So now I'm like, man, I'm seeing, Jordan Poyer is hot commodity everywhere. I'm seeing all kind of landing spots for him. I'm like, man, we got to get a free safety in a hurry. I don't know who else is available. I'm seeing Chuck Clark just going somewhere. I saw Chuck Clark go. Where did he go? I see the Raiders moved on Chuck Clark. He went somewhere. Oh, man. I think I seen him. Let me see where I saw him go. The Raiders I guess they're going with Kyle Hamilton the second year. But you know what I mean?
Because Kyle Hamilton's a boss.
You watched a lot of tape about Kyle Hamilton.
I loved Kyle. I had Kyle Hamilton as my second overall in the draft last year. He was second on my board. That guy is amazing. He can cover.
He got traded to the Jets. So they definitely need help in that deep back. You know what I mean? That secondary and that play that safety spot. But the Jets secondary next year is gonna be monsters. They got 2 lockdown corners. Now they shore up the middle. They'll be doing, and they got a decent pass rush. They just need some linebackers. And they'll be all set. CJ been around the block a long while, but yeah, man, I'm getting excited about this draft. You know what I mean? But let me say this to somebody, man. I got to put them on a hot seat, man. don't overpay this guy, man. I love Jacoby Myers, but you're not a difference maker. And with that play you did last season, throwing it backwards, that hurt your money. Like that hurts your money. Like if you don't want to get friendly, go ahead and test the market out. I really don't see over like $5 million a year. I really don't see you over that mark, like a 3-year deal.
Just think about how big that play was. You missed the playoffs by half a game. If you just don't lose that game, you go to the playoffs, and he threw the game away for no reason.
Like I still don't believe it, but I really would like to see them, go try to get another receiver. Like I said, it's countless receivers in this draft from the FCS level, from the FBS level. We need somebody who can fit in that slot and maybe some more depth. Like if we can get a free agent, I'm cool with that too. But
the one we've talked about this before. The one thing I don't trust Bill with is drafting wide receivers. I don't trust it. Even with guys like Scott Pioli, I mean, great general managers like Scott Pioli, they still couldn't draft a wide receiver. They had to sign all their wide receivers.
Again, you know what I mean? It sucks that a 7th rounder was better than N'Keal Harry.
It's like the one position that Bill just can't. No matter who he takes, we know what Bill does. He takes guys. He's my buddy used to say, he'll draft the popcorn vendor. Mm-hmm. He'll pull guys out like, this guy from Southwestern Louisiana State. Like he'll pull all these guys out, like he'll draft all these guys. Everything he does, no matter what he does, N'Keal Harry was the Bolitnikoff Award winner. They drafted him. He was garbage. They drafted Chris Jackson one year when nobody knew who he was. He was garbage. They've drafted FCS guys. Never pans out. It's the one position the Patriots just can't draft. They just can't draft a wide receiver.
Like, I really don't want them to draft Jackson Smith. Like, he got an injury bug. I watched a lot of him at Ohio State. He always hurt. Like,
you mean in Jigba? No, I would stay. I agree with you. I would stay away from him. He should have gone back to school. He never should have came out, especially since he didn't play at all last year. I don't even remember any plays of his last year.
But also I got a mock draft saying, what's your thoughts about Darnell Wright out of Tennessee? Like, I like him. I think any way he can improve at the tackle position is major.
Yeah. I like Darnell. I have him as my 3rd offensive tackle off the board. But the question is gonna be, what do these teams put an emphasis on? Because I've been talking about this all offseason. You look at the offensive tackles in this draft, they're not as good as the interior linemen are better than the tackles. Mm-hmm. If I were a general manager, or if I were a scout advising any of these teams that are saying we need offensive line help, I'd be telling them, take a center, take a guard, take the center from Michigan. I call him the center from Michigan because I can't pronounce his name, and I'm not even going to try because it's going to end badly. But I call him the Big O. Take him. He's the best offensive lineman in this draft. Then you have Brandon Jones, the guard from Georgia, in this draft. Those 2 guys are the best linemen in the draft, but they're not going to go at the top because they're interior linemen. you look at the teams that made the Super Bowl this year. I mean, you wonder why Philadelphia has such a great offense, because they have Jason Kelce, who's one of the best centers. If you can get that guy, why not get that guy when the other instead of wasting a pick on Paris Jackson or the kid from Northwestern, or, you just said the kid from Tennessee, instead of wasting it on, all right, this guy might be that good. And we have the kid from Florida who's, he's a great talent, but he's not proven. If I'm going to draft a guy in the first round and I know I need offensive lineup, I need a guy who I can slide in day one, and I know, all right, this guy's going to be my left guard. Perfect. Now I can build the rest of the line around him.
Hey, I have a question for you though, Deets. Because I told you in the beginning of the season when we first got started this Midday Sports with you and Fifth Down. But hold up, let me see what's going on with Cool. Cool McCain's about to jump on too. But how do you feel about Chase Brown, man? Like I told you, I don't want them to bring back Damian Harris. You know what I mean? He's not reliable. You know what I mean? I like Stevenson. We need another back. So where do you see Chase Brown going? You think he's going to be around for us to grab?
Is Chase Brown? Hold on a minute. Chase. Oh wow! I according to this list, they have Chase Brown down in the 200s, so he could be he could easily be around in I mean, he'll easily be available late third round if that's the case. I love what I saw from Chase Brown this year.
What about that running back for Tulane, man? I liked his speed. What's his name? Taji Spears.
Taji Spears. I just like all the guys ahead. I mean, running back is very big at the top.
It's deep this year.
It's deep as well, especially with guys like guys that didn't really perform that well, but Tank Bigsby was basically everything at Auburn this year. And you go back to a couple years ago when they had a balanced attack, he was a monster. The guy I would look for, especially if I'm it would work perfectly in a New England offense, is Zach Charbonnet from UCLA.
Oh, Sharp. I like Sharp, man.
I love what I saw from him. He not only I like his Michigan career, and I like what he did moving on with. I mean, the guy played under Jim Harbaugh and Chip Kelly. You can't get any better NFL. You can't get any better NFL experience than working with those two guys in college. So.
What about Rashay Rice, man? Where do you have him going, man? Out of SMU. He pops on tape.
I think it's just too. I think there's too many guys. Too many guys. For him, he might even get free agent as far as the way this is going, unless there's a serious run in the middle of the draft.
What about Tank Dell? Do you see him getting drafted out of Houston?
He'll get drafted. His size is really going to hurt him.
But he got that boom bop though. He got that boom bop.
Yeah, but it's just that he has to get into the right offense, and maybe
what would be the right offense for you?
I would think maybe a team like Denver, with a guy like a Sean Payton, or the Rams. The Rams, Sean McVay could find some ways to use him. You have to get a guy who's really inventive to really. You have to have a guy an offensive guy who can find ways to get him the ball, without him having to really do much. Because with his size, he's gonna have to sit in zones. He's not going to be a guy you could just throw the ball up and hope that he out jumps everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But his special teams ability is off the charts.
Where do you see the who's your number 2 linebacker right now in this class?
Number 2 is the kid from Iowa, Jack.
So you're not big on Nolan Smith?
Nolan Smith is a top. Well, Nolan Smith is a tweener. It depends on where you put him. Some people have him as an edge rusher. Some people have him as a linebacker. I actually like, but I love as a straight linebacker. I love the kid from Iowa. And you watch what he did against Ohio State. Just in that first half against Ohio State, he was an absolute menace to that Ohio State offense. The problem in Iowa was they didn't have an offense to go with it. If they had any kind of an offense, they would have been really good this year. So I like that kid as a straight up linebacker.
What about Derek Hall? I know he's a tweener. Do you see him getting drafted out of Auburn?
A lot of these Auburn kids, they're gonna get hurt, but they're gonna get hurt by the fact that Auburn was just Auburn this year. Mm-hmm. They were just so bad this year that it's gonna hurt their stock. But I do see him getting drafted. He'll be a second, third day. He'll be a third day kind of guy.
What about Henry Toto?
Henry Toto, an Alabama player. If you're an Alabama linebacker, you can't get anybody better. You can't get anybody who knows and has seen a lot of football. They play against a lot of good offenses day in and day out. So I definitely see him going. I'm just looking for the guy that I was looking for. A lot of people are high on Drew Sanders from Arkansas.
Yeah, I like Drew. I'm a big Drew guy, man. I think Drew could definitely start anywhere. I think he could definitely be a good rotational guy. Starting his his career. I like to see him at Denver. I can see him in Denver or y'all. I can see him with the Cowboys also.
I think Denver's going to stay. I think everything they do is going to be on offense this year. That Denver defense is pretty set.
What about also the Texans? I can see the Texans. I feel like the Texans gonna have an overall better defense this year with DeMarco Ryan.
I think as far as the Texans are concerned, they just need players.
Oh, yeah.
They just need players. I don't care where they play, what position they are. They just need guys that can play. Speaking of the Texans, did you see what Tennessee's going to do to Houston this year?
Oh yeah, the Oilers jerseys.
They're going to wear the Oilers jerseys again.
I haven't seen him wear them in a while.
Texans. It's such a slap in the face. Oh my God. You can't make that up.
Like I remember we played them, the Tennessee Titans. I think they had to be like the early 2000s. It was a real wintry. I think it might have been at Boston, Foxborough. I mean,
in the snow,
and we blew them out.
Snow, when Tom Brady still threw like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, we blew them out real bad.
It's because of the snow that Tennessee can't move the ball, and I'm like, well, why'd the Patriots score 50 on you?
Yeah, it was like 59-0, I believe. I think.
And they were wearing those ugly ass blue uniforms. It was
Man, I hope we wear some of our throwbacks, man, because we got some real dope throwbacks.
With Patriot Pat on,
Patriot Pat
on the helmet.
I like the all red ones. The all red ones with the white pants.
I'm telling you, I like the late '90s Patriots uniform. I like those uniforms the best. Like now, you guys are like the navy blue, but back then they were like a nice royal blue. It was popping.
Mm-hmm.
That's the uniform I would go with if I was the Patriots.
But you
like
know what I mean?
Everybody loves the red, the Patriot Pat on the helmet. Like that's cool, but like the Ben Coates era Patriot uniforms are awesome. They're slick. I like those. We talk about a lot of teams' uniforms, but I mean, the Cowboys haven't changed their uniform, and they don't even change it during the year. They just wear white every week.
I like the white helmet. I like the white helmet with the star on it, the blue star. But I don't like the Buccaneers popsicle. The Buccaneers popsicle uniform, that was terrible.
Oh yeah, those uniform. I mean, the only cool thing about those uniforms was the logo. The logo was better.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the logo better. It had the Buccaneer with the knife in his mouth.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. But the color scheme was awful.
The
creamsicle uniform. If they could combine what they have now with that logo, they'd be doing pretty good.
Like I like the sick uniform they had. The Steelers got with the black and the real black uniform with the yellow trim. That's a hard one right there.
Yeah, I mean the Steelers are one of those teams. They haven't changed their uniform in forever too, and I always hate when the Steelers wear those stupid throwback uniforms with. They have the worst throwback uniform. Just stay with your regular uniform.
Yeah, but I was talking about I like the Cowboys the all white helmet with the blue star on it. The old throwbacks.
Yeah, they're the ones they wear on Thanksgiving. Those are the Thanksgiving uniforms. They're all right. I would much rather see them with the 94 with the double stars on the side. That was my favorite. That was my favorite Cowboys jersey. I would love to see them bring that back.
Yeah, it's definitely, man. I can't wait for the draft though, man, to see where a lot of these guys go, man.
I just want to see what a lot of these teams are what a lot of these teams are thinking, because, like I said, if they're listening to the media, I swear a lot of these teams are going to make so many. I just see so much mistakes happening at the top of the draft that a lot of these teams underneath are going to be like, oh, you guys wasted your picks on quarterbacks, and we're going to take the best players in the draft. I mean,
I'm hoping Lamar. Hopefully the Ravens draft the replacement for Lamar, man. because you're going to need him unless you're going to go with Huntley.
I mean, what else is Lamar going to do?
I don't know, man.
What else? Like, is Lamar going to sit out the entire year?
No. That's not what's going to happen. I'm just saying
because we know
it's a 1 year rental. It's a 1 year rental.
We know they franchise them.
It's a non-exclusive, so a team can offer Lamar a contract. That's what I was reading.
Yeah, that's how they did. That's how they did it. They said, all right, you can go out, you can try to get a better contract, but the Ravens would have to match it, which I really don't think anybody's gonna offer him what he's looking for. He's looking for 100% guarantee. No team is gonna do that.
I think you can get the Kyler Murray's contract. You don't think you can get it?
I don't think he can get 100. He's not going to get a guarantee. He's not going to get 100% guaranteed contract. There's no way.
How much guaranteed Kyler got?
I don't know.
I think what he got.
I'm telling you right now, the way Lamar Jackson plays.
But if I was the 49ers, I'll jump on it. If I had the picks, I would jump on it for a 3-year deal. I'll give him a 3-year deal and then give it to Purdy after that. That's my opinion. Man, these froze too. I guess he need to work on his Wi-Fi. But man, I think Lamar right now can win the 49ers a championship with Mike Shanahan's, not Kyle Shanahan's offense. They would be a dangerous team. They would probably get over the hump, but they don't got enough picks to do something like that or the money. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break to Deets come back. Hey, welcome back to Rod's Uncensored Podcast. Make sure you hit that like button. Welcome back. Deets is back now.
Sorry, they're working on the line, so I had to create a hotspot. So
it's all right. It's all right.
But yeah, I'm saying Lamar, the way Lamar Jackson plays, there's no way you could 100% guarantee. Especially the last 2 years, he's been injured significant parts of the year.
So would you give? Because I don't know if they re-signed him or not. Would you give Josh Allen close to 100%? He's been injured too.
I would give Lamar. I mean, I'm not a big Lamar Jackson fan. So
I'm sorry, Josh Allen. Would you give Josh Allen $250 million?
Josh Allen, yes.
But he's been hurt. No MVP.
Josh Allen, yes.
But he's been hurt.
Because Josh Allen has proven to me that he can win from inside the pocket.
But he hasn't won nothing. What has he won?
He's been to an AFC Championship game.
What did he do with it? But in the biggest moments, he's also choked.
What did he do? They lost in overtime.
I'm talking about the game. I'm talking about the game prior. What did you say? What you say?
So I mean, I would build around Josh Allen's a guy you can build around.
I'm not giving him 200. I'm not giving him $250 million for how many? I think he's an injury guy too. Only person I'll probably give.
How is it?
Only person I'm giving major money.
Josh Allen's never been injured.
He was gimpy. He was gimpy in that playoff game. What he had I think he had a broken. What he had a broken finger or something. What game was that? He was hurt. I think it might have been that Cincy
broken
game.
finger. He still played.
But he also does.
Go to their back.
But he also does dumb turnovers, man. He had multiple games last year throwing multiple turnovers. He does get undecisive, throwing the ball.
Yeah, he had high turnover numbers this year. We saw him turn the football over, but he's still a guy that you could build.
Yeah, man. So yeah, there's a couple people. There's a couple people I'm putting above him, man. It's just I feel like he's not. There's a lot of question marks, man. That offense and the offensive coordinator also made him go a step back, honestly. But I feel like he's not a $100 million or crazy type like Patrick Mahomes. Like I don't feel like he deserves Patrick Mahomes money. Josh Allen.
I don't know, man. I think we're talking about $100 million in a couple of years. That's going to be cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, the way these contracts are exploding right now, that you're almost getting away cheap with those kind of deals. I mean, you look at there are only a couple guys that you would give that kind of money to. It's Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, guys that you are building your team around.
I think the Ravens are not going to be able to keep on. I feel like the Ravens are like the Oreos of the NFL. Like you gave $100 million to Joe Flacco, which was the dumbest signing of that day. You know what I mean? And he didn't provide nothing after that Super Bowl. So you can't keep on playing cheap ball. You can't keep on playing cheap ball.
They paid him off. They paid him for that run. They paid him for that run. They paid him for that run of the Super Bowl. And you're seeing what the NFL is. The NFL, you can't do that in a salary cap league. You cannot pay for what someone's done for you. You have to pay for what they're going to do for you. But with the Ravens, see, the Ravens are an interesting study, and it's why I want to see Lamar Jackson go somewhere else. Not because I want the Ravens to be bad or anything, but because what we've heard for years since Lamar's been there. I mean, take 2 years ago in the offseason, Juju Smith-Schuster met with the Ravens and was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay where I am." We've seen wide receivers go meet with the Ravens and say, top-level wide receivers say, "No, I don't want to sign here because I'm not." And, Hollywood Brown said it this guy can't throw to the wide receivers. Every time a big-time wide receiver has gone and met with the Ravens, they have left and not signed with them. There's a reason why.
There's also
whether it was the Greg Roman's offense, but a lot of it is the guy throwing them the ball. They're not going to get the big-time wide receivers do not want to play with Lamar Jackson. They just don't.
There's also, what the last receiver they had was good. Really, I'm gonna say Steve Smith Sr. Out of recent years, and that was like 6 years ago.
Probably, and they got him at the end of his career. I mean, they had to get him as a guy hanging on.
Yeah, they tried Deshaun Watson. They tried Willie Snead. They tried Dez Bryant. They tried countless receiver. They got
a guy now. They got a guy now. The kid they drafted last year,
Bateman.
He did really good for them. The kid from Minnesota.
Like I feel like they need to get.
He did good.
What? They need to get somebody because I feel like he's a number 1/number 2 guy, Bateman. But they need somebody for the crossing routes. They need a good slot guy. Because you don't want Lamar to throw 80+ yards. You know what I mean? You need somebody to do some crossing routes so he can get the ball out quick. But it definitely got a lot of question marks, man. I don't think that Ravens defense definitely stepped off over the last couple of years without when they left go. What's the guy's name? Amadale. What was the guy? The defensive coordinator before? No, DPs. It was DPs. It was somebody else after DPs.
Dean Pease had that Ravens team cooking, and I think he got out. While the getting was good. But the thing is, like that Ravens defense, they have the pieces. They have the.
Yeah, they definitely missing something defensively. You know what I mean? The Ravens defense used to get it done easy. Out of 4th down, 3rd down, it was a stoppers. There was monsters on the defense, but that's what was their bread and butter defensively was the Ravens. But that secondary, a lot of them guys were nicked up. You know what I mean? I like to see what Kyle Hamilton could do at the free safety spot. You know what I mean? That's definitely going to be interesting. Let me see what's going on with my man Dietz. But man, yeah, there's a lot of question marks, man. I would like to see Bill Belichick give some options, man. Bobby Wagner is out there. I like to see him get a call. I like for him to call him and see can we work a deal out, because we definitely need some linebacker help. Also, I like to see, like I said, need some receivers, running backs, build our offensive line up. So if we can, I feel like we could definitely have a good team next year. But do I see Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets? I don't see them working that out, man. I don't think the Jets got enough picks to really make a move like that happen. You know what I mean? I know Sauce Gardner's trying to recruit Aaron Rodgers to come, but I don't think it's gonna help, man. I don't think that's gonna work. But let me go back to my Ravens thing. But there's also been reports saying the Ravens, medical staff been, terrible, and players are coming out saying, their medical staff sucks. And and a lot of people's getting hurt because the medical staff was not evaluating the players right. So You know what I mean? And probably is, you know what I mean? Lamar was not really hurt college-wise, you know what I mean? So maybe that is the case, man, to look into. But I would like to see Lamar leave, man. You know what I mean? Not because I'm a Patriot fan and he killed us a couple times, but I just think they lack offensively, you know what I mean, in their play calling, man. It really humbles, you know what I mean, make them really play Madden, not Madden, but street football, man. And the plays be like really retarded. Their play calling. But I think they definitely can get, you know what I mean, they should definitely try to draft a quarterback or bring a veteran in. We can go bring in Jacoby Brissett if somebody matched Lamar's contract and they get out matched and somebody had to give a pick up for Lamar. But, you know, it's definitely going to be interesting. But, you know what I mean, let's go on some NBA talk, man. How about them Lakers, man? You know what I mean? Y'all been hating, you know what I mean? A lot of y'all been hating on my Lakers and LeBron saying, oh, man, LeBron's not going to make it. They ain't going to make the playoffs. They done. And I think they went like 8-3, I think, 8-3 or something. They dominated the Raptors last night. It was a hell of a game. D'Lo had 28 points. Austin Reeves had 18. Dan Schroeder had like 20-something points. You know what I mean? They've been doing their thing, man. They really have been doing their thing. I'm proud of them. I'm hopefully we can move up to like the fifth or sixth seed. I'm hoping fifth or sixth seed. If we just gotta have the ball dribble on the right side. We dribble the right way for us. A couple teams, getting a losing streak and stuff like that, man. But I definitely say if we can hold up and move to like that sixth seed, because the Warriors are struggling right now. The Warriors are struggling since Stephen Curry came back. They've definitely been struggling. So, the other teams in the West have been struggling. Only team's been really consistent and balling out of control is we could say the Kings, man. The Kings definitely been the Cinderella story of this year, man. They've definitely been balling out. So we need the right losses to move up, man. And I think I don't know, let me see who we got the next couple games while I wait for Deese to come back and a couple other people. Let me see. We got the Knicks tomorrow. That might be a tough one. I like Jalen Bronson. And I like Josh Hart. And you know what I mean? And what's the other word? Julius Randle. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That could be a tough one. But I see us getting that win if Anthony Davis can, keep on balling out and D'Lo and the crew keep on staying strong. The Lakers got on Tuesday, March 14th, we got the Pelicans. I can see us winning that game. The Rockets win. Mavs, that could be a toss up. But I heard what you call is hurt. Luka. So they're definitely looking favorable though, man. I'm hoping LeBron can be healthy by at least April 4, around that area. If he can come back healthy. And Darwin Ham just got to let LeBron play like 20 to 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, and let LeBron rest, man. You cannot – the man's 38 years old. You can't expect this man to keep on playing 40-plus minutes in a regular season, man. That's just my point of view about it. You got to low manage LeBron. But also, shout out to Tamika Reed and Jackson State's women's ladies team, man. They lost a tough one to Grambling last night, 64-65. So shout out to her though, man. Great season, ladies. Hopefully y'all come back next year. You know what I mean? And have a better year in the SWAC and get one of those SWAC championships. Oh, my man's back. What's up, Cool? Hey, you hear me, Cool? Let me see what's going on.
What up, Rod?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Man, but I got a quick question, man, before you go in this NBA and a little bit of this NFL stuff, man. How good was Alex English, man?
How good was he?
Yeah, man. I know you're a big Denver man. How good was he, man?
That man was electric. That man was everything you want in a solid player. He could jump, he could rebound, he could shoot the ball. He had a high basketball IQ. And he brought together a lot of different pieces, man, just to make them better.
Oh, Drew Willie.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
Drew?
How y'all doing today?
Good, man.
So, Rod,
No complaints, man.
Rod, I'm out here doing some work, outside, right?
Yeah.
I hear you talking about LeBron. This nonstop debate between you and Snowman about LeBron.
Yeah.
Did you see where Snowman had the audacity to bring up that Steve Young was better than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II? I want to jump here for a second and bring that up to you.
I call him Steve Young.
Snowman is still drinking too much of that 49er Kool-Aid over Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
I call him Steve Bonyon.
I saw that.
He would come on, man. There's no way. That's like, you know what I mean, saying John Starks is better than Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? You can't compare this two.
Absolutely. Like, Snowman, I love you. We all love you, but you have got to give some love.
You got to stop the cap. You got to stop the cap and stop eating that tapioca. You got to leave it alone. But
no, I side with him on Michael Jordan. I will still be against you with this whole LeBron debate. But when it comes to the greatest quarterback of all time, we have to take our hat off to Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
I got a quick question for you before you get out.
What's that?
Would you take Lamar down to Washington?
As you see, I'm rocking the old school REDSKINS, old school hoodies today. I like to spell it out because, I don't want to upset anybody that are snowflakes out here in these streets. But those of us who are like legitimate fans still acknowledge them as that team. But anyway, I would love to see him in Washington because Eric Bieniemy needs to get a true shot at being an offensive coordinator if, in fact, he wasn't calling plays in Kansas City. And this is his true chance, especially as an assistant head coach. So when you put all that in perspective,
do you have the picks?
And I honestly, off the top of my head, because it's a good question, I haven't researched that recently, so I don't know that question. But as far as the capital, I feel like whether it's in picks or you trade Chase Young because they already have a pretty good.
No.
Dude, look at what they did last year when he was on the shelf for as long as they would. They can make do without him, but they need to make up for that on the offensive side. What you got, Cool?
This is what I can tell you. If you were to sign him, right, outright, just sign it, it will cost you 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, and even if they don't have it like this year, they can still make up for it in the following years.
Exactly. It could be 2023, 2025, 2024, 2025, whatever. It would just cost you 2 first-round picks, or you could agree to other compensation. But I'm saying 2 first-round picks, they don't have to be this year. I think y'all could do it, but I think the problem is I think everyone thinks that Baltimore's going to match whatever you put out there, so they don't want to do all the work when building a contract for Baltimore. But I tell you, if you really want him, I'll tell you how you can get him. Whatever amount that y'all can agree upon, if you guarantee most, I won't say every dollar, but if you guarantee like 75, 80% of it, I guarantee you Baltimore won't match.
I don't think they want to match regardless. I don't
think they will either. No, I agree with that too. But the biggest question, I feel like there needs to be some type of health clause in these contracts because, like, and not to say not to pay them, but to like take away some of the guaranteed money because Lamar has.
Oh, look at this man right here. This no good son of a.
No man has joined.
Now, Rod, you should know better.
I'm gonna sit back and eat my popcorn here.
You better stop that Steve Bone stuff, man. Stop it.
I did call you out on that, Snowman. I did have to agree with Rod about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
Will you quit cussing at me? Save that for the nice shades, by the way.
Thank you. I'm outside doing yard work.
Yeah. How warm is it there?
It's only like 53 degrees. That's why I got the formerly known as the REDSKINS hoodie on for you, Snowman.
Formerly known nothing. They're still there for me. And Drew,
yes, sir.
I'm going to shamelessly and hilariously pick on you for an hour tomorrow.
Okay, you know that I will come ready, locked and loaded at 5:05 p.m. Eastern for episode 13.
And I just put the stream up. I got to correct the time. So, Rod, what's the main subject here? So I can do a quick weigh in and then leave. I've been busy eating. Not just that. I've been busy getting my schedule together because, wife gave me the pointy finger and said, "It's time you got organized, mister."
That's what they all do, man.
Look, I have no
boss you around.
Look, I have no complaints because I got a
Snowman like that.
Hey, I got a kiss afterwards, so I'm not complaining. Okay, Drew, let me see the tail. There you go.
Man.
Hey, I just measured it the other day. It's 13 inches long. I needed to get to about 14 before I can cut it and donate it. And then I can get back to my regular.
I think that's what everybody trying to get to, 14 inches. But I'm going to leave that alone.
Come on, bro. Come on. Take that shit back.
In the immortal words of the late, great George Carlin, I did not need to be told that.
But,
exactly.
But yeah, we was talking about before we was talking about possibilities of where Lamar's going to get picked, get grabbed from. I like to see him either Washington or your team before
you think he's coming to the commie, Snowman?
I said all along, I think Lamar Jackson will get picked up by the Redskins. That's been my first team pick all along because it's a perfect situation for him. They're building something. Their offensive line is good. It's better than what the Ravens are offering for an offensive line, because if you think about it, since 2019, that old line of the Ravens, and Drew, you and I talked about offensive lines all the time. Cool McCain, you and I, same thing.
Yeah,
an offensive line in Baltimore has deteriorated, and that's being nice. You want to get Lamar to a team that is actually building an offensive line. I thought Atlanta would be a good landing spot, but at the same time, he'd be running for his life in Atlanta.
And he's not going to Carolina because of the trade they just made this week.
Exactly. That's out. That's out.
But I like to see him at the 49ers. I like to see him at the 49ers. I'm sorry to say, Snowman.
That ain't going to happen.
I'd like to see him at the Raiders, even though they said they were out of them. I'd like to see him at the
Raiders. My God. That's
what? The Raiders would be a death sentence for Lamar.
Why would it be a death sentence?
The same reason it was in Baltimore. A deteriorating offensive line. Just ask Derek Carr.
But see, here's the thing. I hear the line situation, but as usual, my point is always this: do we not feel like Lamar Jackson is a top 10 quarterback?
I'll reserve that.
Top rushing quarterback, but I don't know about top 10.
I'll reserve.
I'll put him in top 10.
I will put him in the top 10 as well. You can place him at 9, 10, 8, whatever you want. But I feel like he's better than 2/3 of the quarterbacks that are traipsed out every year and play quarterback.
I'll tell you right now. If you put him on Buffalo, I think they go all the way. I'm not a big Josh Allen fan.
Nah, I disagree.
I'm not a big Josh Allen fan.
That's your fault.
Hey,
Josh Allen is where he needs to be. It's Lamar Jackson we got to figure out.
If Von Miller would have stayed healthy, they would have got further in the playoffs.
I agree.
Well, if you play Kansas City, you got to be ready to beat the refs and Kansas City. So they probably would have ran into them eventually in the refs in Kansas City.
Well, we
the
all
refs
know that.
Changed their uniforms to white and red.
Well, we all know that. We all know that
with yellow outline because they basically are Kansas City Chiefs.
Wait a minute. We all know that to be true. Look at the game in Phoenix, Arizona.
I mean, I'm not arguing. You know, I'm just saying like what's obvious. I think. So why are we getting to with Lamar?
It's not an argument. It's obvious. We both said it's obvious.
I think what you call is number 2 for me right now, Joe Burrow. I think he's number 2. I got Jalen number 1, and then I got Patty Mahomes number 3. I don't think Patty Mahomes had a great year this year. I think he had a step back than the year prior. The year prior, he was better than this year.
I look at that argument this way. Who was the last team standing?
With a questionable call. They should have even made it with a questionable call.
Don't even bring up that pass interference call, Rod.
No, I'm not saying that pass interference call. I'm talking about what it did to Cincy.
The AFC Championship game.
I seen worse hits than that offline.
I don't say anything about the call at the end of the game. My only beef with that is you should have called the whole game if you were going to call it in. You let 20 of them go throughout the game, and then you pick that one to call. To me, that's a problem. It's not a call. It was a penalty, but you've been letting it go. So you set the tone that it was okay to do that throughout the game. And you got to the end where your team that you're really a part of and another team, and you decided, we're gonna make sure our team get a good chance. That's my only beef. Are you talking about
Bradbury's PI?
Yes, I am.
Well, Bradbury even admitted at the end.
It was a PI. I'm not arguing it was a PI.
At the end that he did it though.
But here's the thing: you're not listening to what I'm saying. Everybody's hung up on he admitted it. We all saw that it was a PI. The problem is you let both teams do PI the whole freaking game until that point. You never curtailed PI. You never said, we're going to call PI. You made it clear that you were going to let PI go, and then you called it on that one play. You can't tell me in the game that was the only PI play. That's the only one that they called. That's my only problem. It was a penalty, but it's a penalty that you allowed to happen the entire game.
The biggest thing I have for that is like
when school trying not to cuss.
But when you look at like every single important game,
doing my chant in his head now.
When you look at every single important game, though, no matter if it's a Super Bowl, a championship game, no matter what happens throughout the game, they are always going to call it close in the last 2 minutes of the game, no matter what.
They didn't call anything on Kansas City. Kansas City on the punt return, they got the big playoff of. There were 3 different blocking in the backs. None of those were called. The guys calling the game, we were saying, "Wow, they overlooked all those blocking in the backs." Which that's fine if you're going to continue to overlook things.
Did it happen within the last 2 minutes, though? That's the big
last 5 minutes?
That's what I'm saying. Like and throughout, and we can look at this historically, even in Tom Brady games. The Snowman doesn't.
Whoa! You will not bring the Kings.
They did not call anything in the last 2 minutes.
I'm just saying they historically called more penalties in the last 2 minutes.
So they didn't call anything in the last Super Bowl that we were involved in the last 2 minutes. They let everything go. The Patriots had a PI that they let go against us in the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl that we won. So I do reject the deposit that everything was called in the last 2 minutes. What I will say is this: if you're going to not call something the entire game, you can't then turn around and call it the last 2 minutes. That's my problem. Be consistent. If you're going to call it all game, call it all game. If you're not going to call it all game, then don't start calling it in the last 2 minutes. And also, let's talk about this Chiefs Super Bowl while we're talking Chiefs Super Bowl and their friends, the referees. How come there were no holding calls against Kansas City Chiefs offensive line the entire game? You mean to tell me that was looking like the Hogs? They can stop everybody from ever getting a hold the entire game?
It was looking like the Hogs out there.
Yeah, they wasn't like the Hogs. When you can hold, you look like the Hogs. When you can hold, you like the most dominant offensive line in the history of the NFL. When you can hold everybody and nothing's called.
I'm telling
if they put us 4 out there with Cole and allow us to hold everybody, we can hold up.
Hey, Baby Zeus about to get paid off that. Baby Zeus is about to get paid.
I mean, I'm not mad at him, but I'm just saying, let's not act like Kansas City went out there and didn't do anything, and they just were so much better that they won the game. They were assisted by the referees in multiple situations.
Yeah,
and that's fine, but that's what happened.
Had Jalen Hurts not fumbled that ball on that play, then the game would have probably gone different.
Let me turn my camera off.
You need to look into that too.
Well, were we not up by double digits at halftime?
Yeah, but that changed the momentum of the whole game right there, though.
But we were not double digits at halftime. So the fumble happened, but Jalen Hurts came back and he did everything he needed to until they got down there and kicked that punk field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. And that's when we lost the lead.
What was it, a 4th and 2?
It was like a 4th and 4, I believe it was.
I'm going for it.
It was a 3rd and 9, and then we threw
that's a sweep to the right.
No blockers to Kenneth Gainwell.
That's a sweep to the right and a first down if they go for it on 4th and 4.
They didn't go for it.
And that started the fourth quarter.
Hey, cool.
Do
you see them get him going out for like a Cole Beasley or a slot guy? Because I don't like Treadwell. Gainwell. I mean, can you see him going and try to get like a traditional slot receiver?
Well, he's not. He was actually a running back on the play. He plays running back.
Oh, man, I thought he was a slot guy.
No, you would have, the way that they set that play up. It makes sense. If you didn't watch the team, you would have. Yeah. I understand. It was a bad play. It was a bad play call to begin with. I think that there's a lot of things that happen, but my only
Ezekiel Elliott at center.
Oh my God.
That's one of the few times I can make Rod cringe with something that doesn't involve either. But that play right there, I'll tell you something. When they came out in that formation, I looked at Joe.
Twice.
She looked at me. Listen, the first time.
Twice.
I looked at Joe and she looked at me, and she saw Zeke at center, and she went, "Honey, what are they trying to do?"
They did it twice.
I saw the formation, and I said, "Think Stanford man play 82." She went and looked it up, and she looked at Zeke again. And during this time, San Francisco had called a timeout.
Twice.
She looked at that play, looked at the formation, and she said, "There's no way that's going to work. These are the Cowboys." And I said, "Well, Frisco just called a timeout. I wonder if the Cowboys are going to be smart enough to change the formation." And before I could complete my question, Jody looked at me and said, "Oh, hell no, they're not changing the formation. They think they're onto something." Sure enough, after the timeout, who's at center? Still.
That was the dumbest play.
He got run over by Dre Greenlaw. And as soon as he got run over, and they threw the pass, I believe, to Cavante Turpin, and he got whacked by Jimmy Ward. I looked at my wife. She looked at me, and she was like, "They won. Game over. Let's go to bed."
Like that was the dumbest stuff I ever seen, man.
I thought I would never make you cringe until I bring up that.
So we always go off the rails whenever I end up on something with Snowman. But to get back to my original point,
yes.
If you take Lamar and you put him on the Raiders, because most people, I won't say all, but most people feel like he's a top 10 quarterback. He's at least in the top third of quarterbacks in the NFL, so around 10 or 11. I'll say top 10. You can get guys that play offensive line to say, if I go to the Raiders where Lamar is at, that's probably going to be the best situation I can get into to possibly go deep in the playoffs and make something happen. Nothing's guaranteed, of course, but you can get guys to come and block for a guy like Lamar and get some of those issues on the offensive line. That's the only problem you have. They have a running back in Josh Jacobs. They have wide receivers. They have one of the better tight ends if he can ever stay healthy. Maybe Kelsey Plum can keep him healthy now. That's a team to put some pieces together on their defense where they need it. You get a couple of better pieces on the line. I think their right side is the one that really needs to work, the guard and tackle. So you go out and get some guys between the draft and free agency. With a talent like Lamar, I think you could turn that team around. I'm not saying that they're going to win a Super Bowl, but you can make that a playoff team with the other talent that's there.
Cool. I'll say this right now. If they got Lamar Jackson, they win that division.
Well, I mean, the only problem is they got to beat the Chiefs and the refs. So don't ever forget that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat the Chiefs and the refs.
I'm just
trust
saying.
him with Josh McDaniels?
I trust him. I trust him because
that's a good point too, Drew. That's
with him with quick throws and
Rod, you're gonna agree with Josh McDaniels because he came from New England.
I'm gonna say this though. I'll say this though. With him with quick, them route trees Josh does, I think that would make sense for him. Because the receivers are in that system, you gotta be smart and you gotta be at the spot, for the route. So that get that ball out of his hands quicker in the windows, I think that'd be great for him. I think he have a high passing rating in that offense.
Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, you know what I'm saying? If he stays Matt Hollins, like that's a solid amount of actual, offensive talent that's way better than what he's ever had. So that's
Could you imagine RPO with him and Josh Jacobs?
If Jacobs is still around.
Jacobs is a franchise tag.
He's a franchise. So, but that'd be crazy. RPO with him and Jacobs. You know what I mean? It would be crazy. I think that could work, but I don't see him. You know, either way, I can see him do this 1 year rental and get out of there. I would like to see him in Miami also, because I think Tua is done. I think he's done, man. He's done like Stephen Curry. He's done like Stephen Curry.
I think that won't be official till next offseason. He's going to give it one more go.
Yeah, I'm definitely concerned about Tua because like
he looked like Apollo Creed. Like you can't.
Not
he looked finished.
Apollo Creed.
He looked at finish. Okay.
Hey, look, he gonna go out the next season singing "Living in America." Just when we know it's over.
No, we need Hearts on Fire. That's what we need.
It's over with, man. I wouldn't play no more if I was Tua. Like you gotta give it up, man, because you can't play. Look at the Bears quarterback, Jim McMahon. He was never the same with all them concussions he got. Like you gotta take your health serious. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But before we got interrupted by off the rails, man. How you know what I mean? We was talking about Alex English, man. You was breaking it down, man. How good you say he was, man?
Alex English was one of the best to ever do it. I'll do this for you. Man, Alex English was something else at the forward position. I mean, 6'7" out of South Carolina had a wonderful jump shot.
It was a high. I saw the video. It was really high though. It was like real high pointed.
Yeah, he had a lot of arc on his jump shot. That was the thing. Given some of the forwards at the time, James Worthy, Larry Bird, 6'8", 6'9", some of the forwards he was defending against, he had to put a lot of arc on his shot. And later on, a couple of others, did the same thing. But Alex was smooth. He could also get to the rim, use either hand, and he had a bit of a post game also. I mean, Doug Moe didn't use it much, but he had a bit of a post game.
Very intelligent player as well.
Say again.
Very intelligent player as well.
Very intelligent. High IQ. Very much so.
Do you think his game would have been able to translate to this game?
Yes.
You don't even play defense now. Absolutely.
Yes. And then some.
So cool.
A guy that can finish right with either hand.
You said finish with either hand?
Finish with either hand.
Man.
Like Snowman said, they had a good shot to win, but he broke his hand. He was out.
Yeah. Had he not broke his hand in game 4, a game that they almost won, they lost that game 120-116, and then game 5 in the Forum, they got blown to smithereens. And that was Dan Issel's last game. You put Alex English in that mix, there's a game 6 in Denver. I pretty much guarantee it.
So they call right. You might not know this, but they call Snowman the Rain Man because he know all the stuff about every team, every player.
I grew up watching
reservoir of knowledge. Like I'm not saying he always backs the right player. That's up to whoever feel whatever. But I'm saying the reservoir of knowledge that he has. It's a lot.
I watched this stuff. I watched it.
A lot of people watched it, but you can retain the information and spit it out at the drop of a dime. Everybody can't do that.
That was my dad teaching me.
But all I gotta say,
you know what my dad used to do? He used to make me read box scores from every sport. That's what got me into the numbers, because he would read them with me and break them down. That's Pops. That's what got me going.
But I gotta say that it was a song that I want to give to you, Brian. The second time around ain't looking good for the Warriors by Shalimar. It ain't looking good.
Give him a break, Rod. It'll be all right.
But
Hey, look, I just want y'all to understand.
It's not April 9th yet. There's still some games left.
I just want y'all to understand one thing.
Rod, that's the first time you've ever called me by my first name verbally.
No.
Because I gotta have fun with this. The only time that Jody calls me by my first name, the only times.
What, were you in trouble?
A, she's very tired. B, I goofed up on something.
Damn.
C, I really goofed up on something.
Oh, mine's called my whole government name.
Well, you already know what that means. Right? You already know what that means. Anytime any woman uses your whole government name, we already know what that
government name. I said,
if she uses your whole name, wait a minute. If she uses your whole name, you may as well just play the Darth Vader theme.
I just go hide. I try to hide 6 foot and all. I try to go hide. Like the Goonies. I try to hide in the closet.
I can't hide. I'm too tall. I'm tall man around the house. I can't hide. More to the point, I don't want to hide. If I goofed up on something, let me find out where I goofed up. Seriously.
AKA Rod, don't ever call him by his first name again.
Oh. All right, thank you, Drew Willie.
Well, you know what's going to Drew, you gave him that nugget. You know what's going to happen now.
What?
Every time I have money, he's going to call me by my first name.
Hey, you know what, though? Hey, Drew, but I'm never, you know what I mean? I'm oppressed right now. You know what I mean? I got to come out with my diss track about this chat room. Every time I put something in the chat, it disappears. So I know what that means.
What chat room?
The Brian Snow show, the Snowman in the Morning show.
Oh, you talking about Sick Diggy editing it or something?
Oh man, he makes my shit disappear. I think he's the FBI. That's how quick he taps my shit. Only thing I can chat is Cole.
Rod, I warned you. I mean this kiddingly, but I warned you.
Man, I'm getting treated like I'm gold dust. God damn.
You are gold dust. It's dust. It flies up in the air and it disappears.
Oh man.
Let me step on out of here. I think Dee's
Wi-Fi went out.
Oh damn.
Let me step.
Hey, I know how that go, bro. I'm in the car trying to drive. Everything good. 1 minute later, everything gone. I'm like, dang.
Are you in the triad? Cool. Are you in the triad?
No, sir. You know where I'm at, sir. Stop playing.
Hey, cool. I got something to ask you real quick.
What's up, dude?
While we're talking and stuff, you gonna be driving a week from tomorrow, Sunday evening, around 8:00 p.m. Eastern time?
Probably not now on a Sunday evening, no, sir. I wouldn't think so.
If you don't have any plans, I would like to invite you to episode 86 of the In or Out Sports Space. It's a video show. I don't know if you've checked it out or whatnot, but my baby is going to be at episode 86, and I'd like to invite you to that one if you have any free time. It'll be about 90-minute show.
Let's go.
My man. Well, I'll go ahead and make the graphic for it later today. If you don't mind, when you get a free moment, send me like a headshot. That way I can use.
What are you working on, man? What are you working on?
What are you working on?
Yeah.
New job. Now I'm a network technician.
No, not that. I mean, in your garage. What are you working on?
What am I working on? My car.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, I just did my beater. I got a couple cars and a bike, but my beater that I drive back and forth to work is 45 minutes from here. Just tire rotation. So I just finished that up while I was jumping on.
Oh, he's a real man.
Yeah, I don't pay for anybody unless it's like motor work or transmission. I try to do it all myself, save the money, and you can watch YouTube do anything nowadays.
Makes sense.
So
makes absolute sense.
But yeah, if you don't mind sending that headshot when you get a chance, though, cool. I'll make that graphic or whatnot tonight, advertise on tomorrow's episode 85.
And thanks for the advertisement of tomorrow's Sports Senseis, man.
Well, anytime, brother. That's what teamwork's all about. You know,
yep.
This week I had a little free time. Started my new job this week and had some downtime. You know,
you had fun because you showed. I think you sent a shot to me of you at work.
Mm-hmm. I got a ping pong table and a foosball table in the break room, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's sweet. I haven't played on it yet. Been
every time I think of foosball, I think of Waterboy.
With that, I'm out of here. Thank you,
I'm
gentlemen.
gonna rock my Bobby Boucher jersey for when you're on the show. Then
Nice.
I was thinking about the grandma's boy. Remember grandma's boy?
Hey, Drew, rock that Boucher jersey tomorrow.
All right, I'll rock it 2 Sundays in a row.
Snowman, you hadn't said anything blasphemous, man. You leaving already?
I have food in front of me.
Okay, I'm just asking because normally you don't get off without letting the blasphemous comment out. So I'm just
you know what you're gonna say. You know what you're gonna say.
Oh, what I needed. I already said what I needed to say.
Boing is better than Tom Brady. I'm telling you, I'm gonna send you a drug test to Indiana.
Where'd you get Booyah from?
In a COVID test, because I don't think you still got it.
Look,
where'd you go with Booyah at?
COVID don't like me because it tried to get me twice. It tried to get us twice, and we beat it. So, nah.
Shout out to Latina and Cali for saving me when I got COVID.
The elderberry, look, the elderberry is a lifesaver.
Yes, it is.
The elderberry is a lifesaver.
Man, go ahead and listen to your Shalimar and your Prince, and have a good relaxed time. I appreciate you coming on.
I'm gonna have a whole lot of relaxed time. I'll see you gentlemen later. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks.
Bow to your sensei.
He said Shalimar and Prince.
Because them light-skinned boys are done, man. I was so excited when I saw them lose to they lose to OKC, and I think they lost. They've been on the downward spiral. I never seen a spiral like this.
The West is so tight that everybody, like, when their team move up, everybody like, yeah. It's like, bro, it's like 2 games separating, like 13 and 5. So let's just see how things play out. It's gonna be tight. All those teams have a chance. See how things actually end up, though.
But last time I seen a spiral like this, it was Darryl Strawberry. So I'm loving it.
Hey man, all I'm saying is I'm sitting 6 games above number 2, just seeing what's gonna happen below me.
But man, do you feel like are you excited though about it's been a rough time coming for Denver fans. Do you like this current state of your team?
There's nothing to be excited about. It's the regular season. So here's the thing.
You had some rough years. That's what I mean. You had some rough years.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We've had Jokic, especially since he slimmed down before the bubble, has been an excellent player, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've had other bench players that have played roles that they really shouldn't have had to play due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, everybody's healthy. We're deep, right? Right now, we're just making sure that we can control any game 7s that happen in the playoffs. There's nothing for us to be celebrated about now because we made the playoffs last year without our second and third best player and scorer on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So people can say, "Oh, Jokic ain't done this. Jokic ain't done that." Jokic hadn't had a healthy team. So if we're gonna allow everyone else to have a pass when they don't have a healthy team, then why come when it comes to Jokic, all of a sudden he hasn't done this, but in the years that he's had an opportunity, he hasn't had a healthy team around him. We're going to fault him for that. But every other player on every other mother freaking team in the NBA gets a pass for that.
You can let that thing go if you want to.
No, it's all good. I control myself for a reason. But all I'm saying is give him the same thing that you allow other people to have. I don't have a problem with you saying this person is, that person that. But at the same time, allow my guy, also to have that same grace.
I wish you guys would have kept Bones Highland.
Yeah, that's the only one I.
Because him coming from our state here, Virginia, from VCU, we covered him a lot for Legacy Maker, and he was we were really excited to see what he could do with Denver, and then with him going to the Clippers, I feel like even though you guys got a pretty good squad still, that could tip the scales a little bit. Because there's one question I wanted to ask you guys before I jump off here. And of all the trades that we saw, right before the deadline and the moves that we saw in the NBA deadline, which team do you think lost in those trades?
The Suns.
The Suns.
The Mavs. Yeah, look, he's already hurt.
Yeah, and I
I'd agree with
the
Suns and the Mavs.
Look what Bridges been doing.
Kyrie Irving, yeah.
Bridges been balling out. He had 35 and he's been balling out, man. You're lacking on the wing position.
The Nets, I feel like, won that trade, but historically, with how they make moves in the front office, I don't know if they're going to make it with this picks. If we would have talked about that with Snowman being on here, we would have gone to a whole Brooklyn mess rant. But no, like I agree with Dallas, and of course, it's definitely not looking good for the Suns with KD getting hurt and everything, and
Oh
giving
my
up all that
God.
good for him. But I was going to say Kyrie Irving because of all the drama we've seen over the past couple of years since the pandemic, pretty much with him. And, now with him getting moved and with his impact on Dallas, it's like it's hurt the team more than it's helped them.
Also, the Warriors would be my number 3 too. Getting rid of Wiseman. Look at Looney. Come on, man. We already know what Looney is, man.
You just like hating on the Warriors because
Looney and Draymond Green at the 5 is. We already seen this movie so many times. It's like watching a BET movie. We watched it 20 times in the same
As
day.
a Nuggets fan, I'm for it. I think it's a great move as a Nuggets fan.
Like you playing 4 guards. You playing 4 guards, 3 guards. You know what I mean? It's come on, Steve. Go get a book called
that move.
You know what I mean? He's making the game adjustments. You know what I mean? The assistant's got to get it from somewhere. Putting 3 guards in, 4 guards in with Draymond. That's like, come on. I'm tired of seeing this movie, man.
I don't know. We'll see how things pan out for those Warriors, but I think you like to give them a little bit too much hate because Snowman.
Hey, better play some New Edition. Cool it down before I lose control, because they already lost control. But
I mean, there is still time left, but I think Dallas shot themselves in the foot with acquiring Kyrie.
Oh yeah. They like I don't understand why they got JaVale McGee and he doesn't get any playing time.
Yeah, that is true.
He didn't get any on Denver last year either. That's weird. I thought I thought they brought him in right to be a backup, and he didn't get time.
Like it doesn't make sense when Thomas Bryant wanted to go to Denver either. Like you ain't getting no tread.
Oh, Thomas Bryant, time, bro. Thomas Bryant is playing.
Oh,
so
you've been playing?
What we could do now is Jokic can now sit for 10, 15 minutes because we don't have to worry about the shell of DeAndre Jordan, the ghost of DeAndre Jordan, trying to be the backup center.
Man, he haven't been done since Lob City.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now we have a guy that you could actually put in 15, 20 minutes a game, and can actually hold down the center position so Jokic doesn't have to play the whole game.
Yeah, what do you think is the biggest reason? What is your biggest reason why you feel like I don't understand how Carmelo's out the league again? Like I think he still can give you 15 minutes.
Yeah, especially his last year that he had in LA.
Yeah, I think he can give you 20 minutes, but the thing is, it may be money, right? We don't know what he's looking for. Like because there's been so many places you're gonna go and keep playing for minimum contracts, right? You want to get a little bread in your pocket. Sooner or later, you shown what you can do. I thought somebody would pick him up like down the stretch, and I mean somebody could still pick him up before the playoffs. It's more unlikely now than it was, a month ago. But I think he can definitely bring you a guy that you can bring in 15, 20 minutes a game, steady hand, understands the game. He doesn't do a lot defensively, but he'll at least give it a go, which is more than half these dudes in the league now. And I mean, I do agree that he should have a spot somewhere, but it's got to be the right fit for him. Somebody that wants him and somebody that's a contender. And that's probably where it's getting a little tricky.
I really do feel like he's one of the greatest to ever post up. Well, like, where do y'all have him ranked? I think he's up there for me personally. He might be in like the top 10, like post up, fadeaway jumper. Where do y'all have him?
I mean, top 10 in the league, not all time.
You don't think he's the top 10, all time great post fade guy?
Maybe for the Nuggets. Maybe for the Nuggets, like franchise history, but not all time in the league. Like,
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
but people think I'm loose. What you say, Cole?
I was saying maybe top 10 for the Knicks as well, but definitely not like all time. But he's good at it. Like that's a shot. Mm-hmm. He would have been perfect for the European game.
Yeah,
no, he would have been the way he played.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's not a knock.
Yeah, it's not a knock, but I definitely feel like I'm still taking a prime Carmelo over at KD. Am I crazy?
You talking about prime KD?
Yeah, I'm taking Carmelo.
You're crazy. You're definitely crazy.
Well, fellas, on that note, I'm gonna have to jump off here. But it's definitely been a blast chopping up with you guys. For the fans out there that are watching, as always, show homage to your fellow podcasters. As always, like what I like to do here with jumping on Rod stuff sometimes. Check out Snowman and I tomorrow on Sports Unleashed. Check out In or Out Sports Debate, episode 85 tomorrow. Cool next week for episode 86. And Rod, going to get you back on there again at some point soon before we hit 100 episodes, because I've got a special topic in mind for you there, my man. But I'm not going to reveal it.
What's the next episode for wrestling stuff, man? K-Bell.
I'm taking a break from that right now, honestly, because I want to keep the two shows going with Snowman and especially my baby, the In or Out Sports Debate. But with my new job and the scheduling and everything, I don't want to overload my plate, man. So I'm gonna bring it back soon. But one of the biggest ones that I had out of the Kayfabe Express was when Roman Reigns' cousin was on there, Lance in Hawaii, for episode 30, episode 3. I think it's got almost like 400 views or something like that. So it's definitely been pretty sweet on YouTube. Thank you all out there who have checked it out. You guys too. That's another project in the mix, but one day at a time, man. We get one life and we can only be in one place at one time. So we got to do what we can.
Man, so, you got to have a personal life too.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what I'm doing right now with fixing the car up so I can go out tonight because I got stuff to do tonight. So
because podcasts don't got no yams. I'm telling you that right now.
Facts.
But all right, I appreciate you.
You guys be safe out there in these streets. I will see y'all later on.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So cool. So what let's go back, man. So what is your so you looking forward to the playoffs? Would you like to move up to that number 1, or would you cool at that number 2 spot?
Oh, we are number 1, bro.
Oh, y'all are number 1 right now.
We 6 games above the Kings and the Grizzlies. They tied for second, but But I think the Kings had the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think what is Ja gonna be out for another 4 games? Ja gonna be out for another 4 games, right? That's what I've been hearing.
I think it was at least they said at least 4, right? Because I think there's some more stuff that they're investigating now.
So so that's definitely gonna hurt them a little bit, but it's really uncertain. Who would you like to match up for the first game?
I don't even care, bro.
You don't care?
I don't care.
Damn.
No, because the thing is, there's so much fluctuation at the bottom anyway. Mm-hmm. And then we're number 1, so we're gonna play whoever the last team is to play in. So it could be one of any 4 teams once the season is over. So I ain't no need to really get into it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to prepare when you could play really either of 6 teams, and then even when the season's over, you gotta wait to see who wins the 7-8 game, who wins the 9-10 game, and then whoever wins that 8-9 game. So it's so much questionable if you're 1 or 2. That's not even worth thinking about who you want to play at this point, in my opinion.
Okay. So do you feel like I really do feel like Zion is, you got to say, he's up there for the biggest bust, 1A, 1B range. How do you feel about that? You think that's fair?
So what I feel like is that he's in this group. I call him the Street Clothes Brigade, right? So I feel like you got him, you got Kevin Durant, you have we're about to put Mo Bamba in there as well. You got Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Zion, you got Mo Bamba. There's a couple more guys that are fringe, in that group. But I'm just calling them the Street Clothes Brigade. It's the guys who spend more time on the side in their street clothes than they do playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely in that group. But I think the thing about him is what Charles Barkley said. Charles Barkley said when he was playing with the 76ers, they told him, you fat and you're not going to be able to win or have a long career in the league being fat. You got to lose weight. So Charles went and lost the weight, became a great player. Zion, I don't think he's necessarily fat, but I think he has so much mass on his body that he needs to slim down.
Like, what do you think it would be the perfect weight from, like 220, 230?
I think it's more just bulk than weight. You know what I'm saying? Because he's carrying like a lot of bulk. So I think if you can get some of that bulk down, even if you turn it into lean muscle and you still stay near the same weight, I think it's the bulk that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's also, man. But I don't think he got that dog into him to really take care of his body, and he's definitely going to be hurting the Pelicans for the long term if he doesn't want to change his mindset up.
But I think he can.
He's definitely young enough, but
yeah.
But yes, go on, man. I really feel about this Ume situation with Boston, man. I feel like this has always been the plan to move that assistant coach up. What's your thoughts about that?
It makes sense. I mean, I think that definitely was the plan once the situation played itself out the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
I think Udoka would have had the team for a while, and he would have been coaching another team if that situation hadn't happened. But we've seen what he's been able to do with his team is very impressive.
You feel like he's going to be blackballed? You feel like he's going to be blackballed forever coaching again in the NBA?
No.
Remember they did Avery Johnson like this with the Knicks as an executive. Remember that back in the day?
I remember that. But I think with the talent he had and how good he had that team, now will it be next season? Probably not. He's probably going to take a year or two before he gets the opportunity. But I think he will get that opportunity.
What spot you think would be ideal for him? I think like a Houston Rockets, somewhere like that would be perfect for him.
That is a good question. That is a very good question. It's going to have to be, I would say Houston wouldn't be a bad idea. I said a team like the Knicks wouldn't be a bad idea. Mm-hmm. At some point, they're going to have to make some changes if they can't, ever get over the hump. Like getting there is cute, but at some point you want to actually do something when you get there.
What would you grade Chauncey Billups coaching overall?
I'd probably give him like a B-.
I was thinking somewhere around there, man. He just got really a lot to work with.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to. So a lot of the places where you could think about where Udoka could go, it's like they don't really have a lot. That's why they're not good, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to send him to a place where they don't have a lot, there's only so much he could do. I mean, he did have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum there. It did help him, along the way. I think it'll be a couple of years. I think it'll take a year or two for him to actually get another job, unless there's another team like an Atlanta Hawks type team that just ends up firing a coach because a player's disgruntled with him and they want Udoka. I think it's the only way we would see him get a job, next season. I think Atlanta's going to be better. They made a change, right? Not because you have a better coach in Quinn Snyder. People can argue that, but Nate McMillan took a team that was trash and made it good. But I think Quinn Snyder is a guy that they respect. And now, if you're Trae Young, you've gotten a coach fired. You're not getting no more coaches fired. Next time, it's going to be you, not the coach.
Yeah, I think he's overhyped, man. He's overhyped, man. When he came out, they said he's supposed to be Stephen Curry 2.0. But I think he kind of peaked.
He's more like Stephen Curry 0.05.
Yeah, more like great value. But but man, the draft is coming up before we get out of here, man. What positions would you like to see your fly Eagles fly grab? What position would you target if you were the GM?
That's a great question, sir. So there's two positions for sure that I think everybody in the world would agree that we have to address: defensive line and cornerback. I'd also like a linebacker. I'd also like a safety. Mm-hmm. I'd also like a versatile player that can play tackle or guard, because we have a lot of like little injuries that keep a guy out 1 or 2 games. So somebody young to get into that position, and a running back. That's what we need to target. Oh, and a second defensive lineman for sure.
What about somebody since you got one of the greatest centers to ever play? You know what I mean? I hold him to the high regard, even though I don't like the Eagles so much.
But you got to
I can't be a hate player. You know what I mean?
Right. Unless you're Arlington football team fan, you don't do that.
You know what I mean? So I feel like you should get a young guy so he can learn on the job from Jason Kelce.
We actually did.
Oh, did y'all?
We got one last year. Jason Kelce handpicked him. Mm-hmm. And he is going to be the guy when Kelsey's done, but we want Kelce one more year, right? At least. Yeah. Yeah. So we did get a guy there, but we actually drafted 2, but one of them ended up being a guard because of the line. Mm-hmm. But so we got a guy that's learning. I completely agree with you. You have Jason Kelce, you better draft a guy that can learn from Jason Kelce, because if you don't take the time to draft the guy while he's still there, you're asking for your success level to decrease.
You know, because only why I'm saying this because I watch a lot of Eagle games at the house. My girl's an Eagle fan. I watch the Eagles.
See, I already like your lady, man. She's good people already.
You know what I mean? She makes me watch it. She talks shit about my Patriots.
Oh, man.
I tell her all the time, you just got one of them, okay? You got one. But, you know what I mean? That's another story.
I mean, y'all like to discount the championships that we have. You know, last time that I checked, championships do count. Y'all want to discount our stuff. If it's anybody else, y'all giving it, but everybody want to discount us. But that's okay. We get more. We might get one next year.
Possibility, man, because I really don't see the Chiefs getting out. I don't see the Chiefs getting lucky again. Like I really don't see it. But man, how do you think the offense going to look next year? You think it's still going to look the same, or you going to switch it up a little bit since your OC left, or you think this is Nick's game to run it the same system?
Well, he's a disciple, so to speak, of the other coach. So I would see him doing the same things.
Okay.
I wouldn't see him making a lot of large changes. I'm not saying that there wouldn't ever be any changes, but I think we're going to have somewhere that's going to do things along the same path.
Okay. You know what I mean? I appreciate you coming on cool and giving your time on the weekend. I know everybody's trying to take a break. So I appreciate you coming on, man. And, you know what I mean? This has been a weekend edition of, you know, Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew. And we're about to get out of here. So I appreciate you, man.
Oh, no problem, man. Glad I could be on, man.
All right. And we're about to get out of here. And we will see y'all later.